Welcome back to another video, you guys. This swarm above me, these are winged termites. They do not bite. They have a very high nutritional value from what I understand. I don't eat them, the people eat them here, and it rained today. This was the rain that I was talking about in my last video. The rain this morning, the thunder, the lightning, tons of water came down and it triggered all of these winged termites to emerge. They've been flying around all day, but of course now it's nighttime, so they're swarming around the lights. Throughout this video, you are going to see them flying all over me, and you're going to hear me spitting them out and swatting them out of my face and who knows what. But the frogs are out. The frogs are out like crazy. They are croaking. We're gonna go across the street to our land, check out our ponds over there. There should be a ton of frogs out. It's a whole food chain, you guys. When the insects are out like this, the frogs are not only feeding on these, but they're also going to be breeding and laying eggs. And the snakes are going to be also predating on the frogs. Tokay geckos will be out eating these insects. There'll be a whole bunch of stuff going on. But anyway, you guys, I'm getting swarmed. We're going to turn the light off, let these guys leave us alone for a minute, and we're going to get walking. Hopefully it'll be really interesting. I think it's pretty loud over there. I can hear them already croaking from the forest. Let's go check this out. There's a sunbeam right there. So there's a sunbeam snake, you guys. I'm getting swarmed with all the bugs. I'm gonna let it go. It's very common. You guys have seen these before. All right, you guys, so let's talk about food cycling versus temperature cycling. And I have to caution you, yes, there are still bugs swarming all around me. You're probably gonna hear me choking on bugs. They're going in my ears, my nostrils, my eyes, and it is very difficult for me to concentrate on walking and talking with all of this outside interruption. But anyway, let's get into it. So tropical snakes that wouldn't normally be exposed to drastic temperature drops, they're commonly temperature cycled by hobbyists. That seems to be the most accepted way to go about breeding snakes, even tropical ones. I also used to do this with my red-tailed boas way back when, and a steady temperature drop for like 8 to 10 weeks, and it worked, but I also experienced some respiratory issues with those animals. So it wasn't perfect. So on my own, I changed to doing night drops only with the temperature. I didn't have anyone to ask the advice of. I just started doing this myself. I figured common sense told me that dropping the temperatures too low for too long a period of time really had bad effect on the boas. So without the advice of anyone else, I just did nighttime drops, and it worked. It still worked for breeding, and it alleviated respiratory problems. You know, live and learn, right? You just kind of trial and error, and you just kind of figure things out. If one thing's not working, you change to something else, and hopefully it does, and you find the way to proceed. So for many years, and even until today, I'm food cycling. I'm not doing any temperature cycling anymore. I mean, look around what's happening right here, right now, tonight. Snakes have been hot and dry, mostly underground probably to escape the heat. And then the rain comes and the temperatures drop and the food comes out. Frogs emerge to spawn and gorge on the food. They're eating all of these winged termites. The snakes come out to feed on the frogs, and then the sudden influx of food triggers the female snakes to cycle. And in probably like 3 to 4 weeks, if I find any adult female snakes out here, they probably will have follicles or even eggs if I palpate. In captivity, I usually maintenance feed around the seasons. So when it's not breeding season, I'm kind of like reducing food a little bit and just sort of doing maintenance feeding. And I pay attention to many things for breeding, but this is just one of them. So if I know that rain is coming, I always watch the weather forecast. And if I see rain coming, I will do a heavy feed for the female, and I will pair them on the day that it is raining. So then I'll do another feed 3 or 4 days later and another pairing, and I'll just keep repeating the process. And I definitely do all of this around rain. I feel that it's super important. The barometer changes when the rain and storms come in, and this is something that we cannot reproduce in captivity. So it's just something that I have to watch the outside environment for this. If I see a pair of snakes breeding, I feel that the next few males are critical to help trigger both the cycling or follicle development or just regular nutrition for biological processes. So there you have my interpretation of food cycling, at least what I do. I've had a lot of really good success with it, especially among my tropical colubrids. So just walking around out here tonight, this is kind of like a prime example of how I developed my protocol. So I have a couple of theories that I wanted to bring up in this video, just something to think about. I often wondered if there's anything extra that we're not aware about in these winged termites or other insect swarms around the world that are triggered by rain, ants, or whatever it may be. We do know that some insects have acids or chemicals in them. So what if this short-lived life cycle of these termites that come out of the ground after the first rain just to mate and breed and basically die in 24 hours? What if there's something inside of them? What if there's a chemical or some kind of nutrient or mineral or something that we don't know about? I mean, I'm sure they're rich in calories with eggs and that sort of thing, but what about something else that might help the frogs reproduce or affect their hormones in any way? And then of course the snakes are eating the frogs, which all have full bellies of these insects. So the snakes themselves are getting a gut-loaded prey item that has probably a high dose of whatever extra that may be in those termites. And is that having some sort of effect on their hormones or anything on a reproductive level? It would be interesting to find out if this is a thing. I'm not going to study it. Maybe someday somebody will study it, but it's just something that I've always wondered about. And my last food for thought, something else that comes to mind as I spend a lot of time out here, is the rain is the change of the season. So at least here it is. In most parts of the world, you'll get like a monsoon season. Even if it rains a ton, you're still going to get a period of the year where it's going to be super heavy rain. So it's still going to have like a monsoon season and whatever. But at least for here, we've just passed the dry, hot season. As I've said before, we've gone from 105 to 106 degree Fahrenheit daytime highs with no rain. And then now all of a sudden with the rain, now we're in the upper 80s and low 90s. So it's roughly like a 15 to 20 degree drop in temperature. And in captivity, we're led to believe that cycling from cool to warm is the way. And of course, because probably US native colubrids, that's what they experience. They go through a cold winter and then they warm up in the spring and then into the summer. But here, it's doing the opposite. We're going from warm to cool, and that is the trigger for the breeding season. So, I mean, my message, of course, is if it's not broke, don't fix it, but it's just something that's occurred to me after spending so much time out here, and tropical snakes and US native snakes are quite different, so I don't know if that's something, but again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So that is about it for the video tonight, you guys. I'm going to get inside. I'm going to take a shower, get all these bugs from out of inside my clothing. They're everywhere. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next one. Take care. keep my focus. I passed some dude. Oh my gosh. You mother. One more try.